All right, so for home plate tonight, it says, solve the system by graphing, substitution, and elimination. Then check your solution and write a statement. So it's 3 problems times 3, that's... Alright, we got this, yes? Alright, let's get started. Our objective for today, I can solve system of linear equations by graphing, substitution, and elimination. Once again, I can solve a system of linear equations by graphing, substitution, and elimination. Alright? So, we don't need a fair model on your paper, but I do want to know if you actually remember the definition. So on your screen, lock your toolbar. Without looking at your notes, I want you to type in the definition for systems of linear equations. Without looking at your notes. Alright? 40 seconds. What are systems of linear equations? Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and time. All right. Let's see. Did your definition look something like this? Very good. The set of 2 or more linear equations and that have the same variables? Yes, right? All right. So, just a recap, we're still looking at what? Consistent and inconsistent systems. All right, and yesterday we started with one of these, is that correct? It's just to kind of like review the graphing portion. And like I mentioned before, there's other methods of graphing, but we're focusing on using the slope-intercept form for right now. Okay? Then we got to this one, is that correct? Yes? All right. So copy this one on your graph paper, please. You can copy it on the top right of your graph paper. Some of you should have an extra graph paper. If you don't, I think I have some extras, but I don't think I have enough for everyone. So first come, first serve. Copy that and we'll get started. Yesterday we went home and we did solving by graphing. So, before we move on, what was the most important step to remember about graphing? Tell your neighbor, please. That is correct. Solve for y. So let's solve for y, the top equation. Let me use some of this technology to get this out. And I'm going to bring this down over here. All right, let's solve for y. So, what do I do for this one, everyone? Add x, add x. So we got y equals x plus 1. All right. So I no longer use the top one anymore. I got my new equation. Look at the second one. Let's solve for y on this one. What do we do with that one, everyone? Subtract 4x, subtract 4x, and we get y equals negative 4x plus 6. Do you know what to do from there? Graph each one and find me the solution. I'll give you some time. Copy that and go. All right, quick recap. Here we go. Writing utensils down, look up to the screen. So I want to go over this one more time just to make sure we got this. And we said that I left off here. To graph it, goes as follows. I'm going to start with the red one. We start at what? Positive 6. What is my slope? 4 down, 1 to the right, 4 down, 1 to the right, 4 down, 1 to the right. From there we graph my line. There it is. And of course I keep extending it so it can go all throughout the coordinate plane. Next one, where do I start? At positive 1. What's my slope? 1 over 1. That means 1 up, 1 to the right, 1 up, 1 to the right, 1 up, 1 to the right. Graph my line. There it is. From there, we identify the point of intersection of the lines, which is this. That is what we call what, everyone? The solution, which is 1, 2. So far, so good, right? So what is the only thing I did not ask you to do yesterday? I did not ask you to check your work. Well, we're going to do that today. So underneath that, I want you to write check. We're going to write check. And how do we check? Well, we're going to write our two equations. I'm going to start with this equation, y equals negative 4x plus 6. And right next to it, I'm going to leave a little space. I'm going to write the second one, which is y equals x plus 1. Now, what are we going to check? Well, the point that we got. What was the point that we got? 1, 2. I'm going to put this here. 1, comma 2. Now, what do we know about that point? That there's two values, a value for x and a value for y. So what is x? 1. And what is y? 2. So what do you think we're going to do with these values and those equations? Tell your neighbor, please. Yeah, substitute and check and see if it's true. So here instead of y, I'm going to write 2. And instead of x, I'm going to write 1. Bring everything else down. Equal minus 4 plus 6. Bless you. 2 equals, bless you, negative 4 plus 6. Does 2 equal 2? Yeah, check. However, it cannot only be true for one, it has to be true for both equations. So let's do the same thing for the other. Instead of y, what do I substitute? 2. Instead of x, I substitute 1. Bring everything else down. What is 1 plus 1? 2. Is 2 equal to 2? Yes. Therefore, it is a solution. So that's what we're going to be doing tonight for the home point, each of the problems. Okay? All right. So far, so good? Okay, we got this, yeah? All right. Show me how comfortable you are with solving by graphing. Yeah, 5s. Some of you are showing me 10s, 20s. All right, good. Some of you have weird fingers. All right. Let's move on. All right. Copy that one on the top left of your graph. Top left. Copy that one on the top left. And hopefully some of you guys noticed that it's the same system than the one we just used. All right? So, I'm going to go over this one just to remember the process, and then you're going to do one by yourself. So, write your utensils down, look up to the screen. Here we go. Focus, please. All right. Before I do substitution, once again, for solving by graphing systems, what was the most important step? Solve for y and then graph, right? Just keep that in the lock position. For substitution, pay attention to this part. I'm going to see if you can remember the step. The most important step is you solve one of the equations for one variable at least. And repeat that again. The most important step for substitution, one of the equations has to be solved for one variable. Does it matter which equation? No. Does it matter which variable? No. Therefore, with that said, write your utensils down, look up to the screen. Which equation do you want me to use? The first one? Okay, I'm going to use the first one. Don't write this down, you're just paying attention. Negative x plus y equals 1. So, I need to solve one of the equations, which is the first one, for one variable. Which variable do you want me to solve for? Y or x? Okay, so I need to leave y by itself, so what do? Plus x plus x. That leaves me with y equals x plus 1. So that's the most important step to get started. Step 1. All right, so step 1 we got down. Step 2 is the reason we call this method substitution. Check this out. What is y here? It's what? X plus 1. Y is what? X plus 1. Look at the second equation. We have a y here. But instead of y, what would we write? X plus 1. That's why this step is called substitution. Step 2 is substitution. So instead of y, I'm going to write x plus 1. Then I'm going to rewrite the rest for x plus equals 6. Is it coming back? Copy that, please, and then we'll finish it off together. All right. So step 1, what was the most important step that we said? Step 1, which is solve one of the equations for one variable. Step 2 is what makes this method called what? Substitution, because we substitute into the second one. However, look at this. Doesn't this look familiar? Yeah, so let's do that in green. What do we do here? Combine like terms. Let's do this together. This is 5x plus 1 equals 6. Continue. What do? Minus 1 minus 1. That leaves us with 5x equals 5. Continue. Divide by 5, divide by 5. Therefore, x equals 1. That is step 3. And by now, your doodle's like, oh, I get it. We already have an x value. What are we missing? A y value. So watch. I'm going to switch to blue now. We have a x value here, and we already have an equation solved for y over here. So what do you think I'm going to do with this value? Substitute it over here. So I write substitute and solve at the end. That's step 4. So instead of x, what do I write there? Allie. Bam. Let's go. Y equals 1 plus 1. Therefore, y equals 2. And we just write our solution, which is 1, 2. Did we get the same thing that we got on the graph? Of course, because it's the same system. Different method. Somebody with your fingers off into your with substitution. Okay? All right? I'm going to leave that up here. Now, oh, cautionary. Look up, please. Look up, really quick. In step 2, be careful with some of the equations because some are going to have, instead of positive number here, they should have a negative. So what happens there? That instead of just writing it here and then just bringing the sign down, we have to put this in a parentheses because of the negative sign. Is everybody following what I'm saying? Here it goes again. Be careful when you're substituting on step 2 for some, because some might have a subtraction sign here under the variable. If they do, make sure you put whatever you're substituting in parentheses so you can distribute the negative to both terms. Everybody got it? All right. I'm going to leave that up there for the process. Let's see if you can do this next one by yourself. Ready? Here it goes. Copy that and go. That's example omega cube. Negative 2x plus y equals 3 and x minus y equals negative 5. Copy that and go. Bye. Let's see, Roberto, get us started. Which equation did you start solving, the top one or the bottom one? Which one? The bottom one? Okay, for which variable? You left the x by itself? For the second equation? Okay, so you did minus x negative y equals negative x minus 5. Is that where you're, and then? Okay, so multiply or divide by -1. That leaves us with y equals x plus 5. All right, so Roberto started with the second equation. All right, but does it really matter? No. So now, step 2, we need to substitute this y value into the other one. So here instead of y, what do I write? X plus 5. So let's see if it works. -2x plus, now I write x plus 5, and all that equal to 3. All right? So I did a substitution there. So now let me solve here. This is -x plus 5 equals 3, minus 5 minus 5. -x equals -2. Divide by -1. X equals 2. And if you got x equals 2, okay, good. From there, I'm going to go this away and substitute the x right there, which is 2. So therefore, y equals 2 plus 5. Y equals 7. So my solution for this system is 2, 7. Solution. Now, it doesn't matter if you didn't start with the bottom equation, you should have gotten the same answer. And if you got that, you're good. Yeah, just be careful with that negative. Remember, for those of you that started with the first one, be careful with the negative distributed to both terms. Okay? All right, let's crank it up a notch. Yeah, let's go. Copy this one. -2x plus y equals 3, and x minus y equals -5. As you're copying that down, here goes the recap. We said that solving by graphing, the most important step was what? Solving both equations for y. Is that correct? For solving by substitution, what was the most important step? Solving one of the equations for one variable. Here goes elimination. Write your utensils down, look up to the screen. To solve by elimination, here goes two important things need to happen. The first one, they need to be in the same form, both equations. What form is this one? Standard form. Is this one in standard form? Yes, so part one is done. The second thing, one of the variables has to have an opposite on the other equation. Let's see. Does 2 have an opposite? No. Does the y have an opposite? Yes. So therefore, now we can start elimination. Here it goes. Elimination is basically combining both equations. Here it goes. What is -2x plus x? -x. What is y minus y? 0. They cancel. That's why it's called what? Equals 2. What is 3 minus 5? -2. Am I done? Divide by -1. Therefore, x equals 2. And what do we do with that? Substitute into one of the two equations and solve for y. Copy that and finish it off, please. And to finish it off, I'm going to use the second equation, x minus y equals -5. But instead of x, I'm going to use 2 minus y equals -5. Minus 2 minus 2. -y equals -7. Divide by -1. Y equals 7. Solution 2, 7. All right. So your homework for tonight, it's only 3 problems. All 3 different ways. Bam, let's go. Have a good one, guys. Enjoy home play. There is tutoring after school. It's free. Later, guys. Bye.